Well, this isn't the first time that we've brought this up on Inside Greeley, but we want to make sure that you have not forgotten about it. And as we move into these colder months, it's something that is becoming more and more prevalent here in the state of Colorado as well as in Greeley, and that is puffing. Now, I know you've probably heard that term before, but we have one of our finest and greatest here with the city of Greeley at our Greeley Police Department. We have Officer Balati, who's here to tell us a little bit more about what puffing is in case you don't know, and also a little bit of stats about what we're starting to see around our community. So, Officer Balati, it's great to have you here today as part of the Neighborhood Action Team. I know that this is something that you're dealing with on a daily basis.
It is, Amy. Puffing is simply the act of starting up your car, primarily just warm it up before you take off for work or leave the gym or wherever, and leaving that car in a position where it can be driven away by anybody. We've seen a dramatic increase in puffing auto thefts December 2017 over 2016. December 2016, we had 38% of the cars that were stolen were the direct result of puffing, usually within 5 or 10 minutes of being started. In 2017, that number has jumped to 52%.
52% that have been taken in just in a year's time.
Just in a year's time, we've had that much of an increase in puffing. And this is in spite of all of the education efforts that the city of Greeley, my police departments across the country have presented to the public. This still continues to be a problem.
Right. Okay, so I'll play devil's advocate here. I know this isn't the first time you've heard of it. Let's say I have my vehicle and I have a remote start. So you're telling me I can't go out and I can't start my engine, but that's not necessarily the case.
No, Amy, it is not. There are provisions within state law that allow one that has an anti-theft device installed on their car, either aftermarket or from the factory, that would allow you to warm your car up. But if anybody were to either break the window and get in it, or if you left your doors unlocked, as soon as you put it in gear, applied the brakes, the engine would stall or die. Right. This prevents that vehicle from being stolen, obviously.
Right. But in cases where I don't have that, that's where we run into this puffing situation. And I have to say, I always think the name puffing sounds kind of cute and fuzzy, but it really isn't. Because a lot of times what's happening is the folks that are taking these vehicles, they have something a little more sinister in mind.
Yes, Amy. The statistics, which are the FBI uniform crime reports, indicate that 97% of the people that are contacted, subsequently arrested for being the suspect in a puffing incident, are very involved in additional crimes, whether it's street robberies, armed robberies, most likely driving under the revocation, other license status, narcotics. Then the public at large is greatly threatened due to the errant driving behavior, which is something this department is all about. One of the basic tenets of this department is improving traffic safety. We can't do that if we don't get participation from the public to prevent some of these dangerous actions.
Yeah. Well, and as you mentioned, that it's putting a lot of folks in danger, whether it's residents, but also the police officers. And we have to think about safety in a bigger scheme of things. And we can't necessarily always go after them because of the safety of others that are around them. But the thing that's surprising to me is just, I think that there's probably a lot of stories out there that you guys have all the time about how a car has been taken from a puffing situation, and then you guys have had to deal with the repercussions of that.
I think one of the most tragic ones I can think of, and it ended up fairly well, but it was in Longmont about 10 years ago. A woman had gone to a gas station, fueled up, left her vehicle running with her 2 young children in the back seat secured. Right. Somebody stole that vehicle, and if many that have been around will recall, a high-speed chase ensued, and that vehicle was ultimately recovered in Brighton. Yeah. And it takes nothing, as it's alluded to earlier, it's a matter of minutes. And all the reports I've read in the last couple of days in preparation for this interview, all of this is happening in 5 or 10 minutes, and it happens all over the city. No one neighborhood is immune from somebody seeing a crime of opportunity and then disappearing with that vehicle.
Yeah, yeah. So, and I think part of this also we want to make sure that people keep in mind is it's not necessarily the police department saying, no, you can't do this. Fine, you can, but think about your loved ones, the kids in the back seat, your property, whether it's a cell phone or a computer. They're looking for those things, and just be conscious of it. And if you can, bear the cold just a little bit more and wear your coat, and the car will be fine and you will be fine, but just try to prevent some of those crimes from happening in the future.
Correct, Amy. We're not out here to try to tell folks how to live their lives. We're just asking for what in essence is working in a partnership with our community to help us out. Yeah. Because we can't be all places at all times, but the public, through just a tiny bit of awareness, can immensely help our efforts in mitigating any threats to our community, and we really just graciously ask that the public help us in this venture.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Officer Ballati. Great tips for everyone. Hopefully they'll heed our warnings. And as far as just engaging with the police department, I want to make sure I also mention they have a great Facebook crew. Make sure that you're checking out the Greeley Police Department on Facebook and other social media. And please be aware of the puffing situation. Don't be a puffer.